This show is part of OnePlace, a daily network of focused briefings across the stories people follow most.
Welcome to your daily sports roundup. I'm host Rob Saad. Today, we are diving into the biggest headlines from the NBA, NFL, and beyond. Let's get started.
Draymond Green gets ejected after emotional Warriors sideline embrace.
NFL draft rumors suggest a night filled with trades.
The Penguins and Flyers reignite their historic hockey rivalry.
LeBron and Bronny James make history as NBA's duo.
The 2026 NBA playoffs begin with a fresh bracket.
Arsenal and Manchester City face off in a massive clash.
Nebraska baseball clinches a wild walk-off win against USC.
The Golden State Warriors face a potential end of era.
The Golden State Warriors season came to a dramatic and emotional end during their play-in tournament loss to the Phoenix Suns. In the final minutes, Coach Steve Kerr pulled Stephen Curry and Draymond Green from the floor for a poignant embrace on the sideline. With Kerr in the final year of his contract, the moment felt like a potential farewell to the trio that secured 4 NBA championships together. Kerr expressed his deep love and appreciation for his stars right on the broadcast, acknowledging the uncertain future ahead. It was a rare, vulnerable look at a dynasty that has defined the league for a decade, leaving fans wondering if this was truly the last time we would see them together in these high-stakes moments.
However, the sentimentality was quickly interrupted by a classic Draymond Green moment. Just after the heartwarming exchange with Kerr, Green was ejected from the game following a heated verbal spat with Devin Booker. Even after being benched, the jawing continued until referee Scott Foster decided he had seen enough, tossing both Green and Booker. Draymond didn't go quietly, egging on the Phoenix crowd for louder boos as he exited. The Suns eventually secured a 1-1-1-9-6 victory, clinching the 8th seed and a date with the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder. While the Suns move on to face the top-seeded Thunder this Sunday, the Warriors are left to navigate an offseason that could bring significant changes to their legendary core and coaching staff.
Now let's shift to... The 2026 NFL Draft is just a week away, and the rumor mill is spinning at full speed. Kansas City Chiefs general manager Brett Veach is predicting an exceptionally entertaining first night, largely driven by a high volume of trades. Veach points out that 5 teams currently hold 2 first-round picks, including his own Chiefs, the Cowboys, Browns, Dolphins, and Jets. This concentration of draft capital creates a perfect environment for movement. Interestingly, Veach notes that the lack of consensus top-tier quarterbacks outside of Fernando Mendoza might actually encourage more trading. When teams aren't selling the farm for a franchise signal caller, they are often more willing to move up or down to snag specific defensive ends, receivers, or offensive tackles who carry very similar grades on the big board.
Beyond the trade talk, individual prospect stock is fluctuating. Tennessee cornerback Jermod McCoy is a name to watch. While his 2024 film is elite, an ACL tear suffered during offseason training has introduced significant risk into his profile. Veach suggests that because the talent gap between many high-level prospects is so narrow this year, we could see players mocked in the late first round jump up significantly, while others slide. The Chiefs themselves are in a prime position to shake things up, holding the number 9 and number 29 picks. Without a clear-cut generational talent like a Myles Garrett at the top, teams are looking for value and fit, which usually leads to a chaotic and unpredictable draft night that keeps fans on the edge of their seats.
Next up, one of the most intense rivalries in hockey is back on the big stage as the Pittsburgh Penguins and Philadelphia Flyers meet in the 2026 Stanley Cup playoffs. This Battle of Pennsylvania hasn't graced the postseason in nearly a decade, making this first-round matchup a massive event for NHL fans. Historically, these two teams are incredibly evenly matched. Heading into this series, the Flyers hold a razor-thin all-time playoff advantage with 21 wins to the Penguins' 20. In terms of series victories, Philadelphia leads 4-3 across their 7 previous postseason meetings. The rivalry dates back to the 1960s, and the physical, often heated nature of their games suggests that this 2026 iteration will be just as explosive as the classic battles of the past.
The last time these two met in the playoffs was back in 2018, when the Penguins took the series in 6 games. Since then, the Flyers endured a 5-year playoff drought that only recently ended, while the Penguins have continued to lean on their veteran core. Philadelphia actually owns the overall historic advantage when you factor in the regular season, but the Penguins have been more successful recently, winning 3 of the last 4 playoff series between the two. With the Flyers finally back in contention and the Penguins looking to prove they still have championship DNA, this series is expected to be a highlight of the first round. Fans should expect plenty of tension and high-stakes hockey as these division foes fight for state supremacy and a spot in the second round.
Moving on to... The NBA has never seen a father-son duo quite like LeBron and Bronny James. While LeBron continues to extend his record-breaking career as the most decorated player in league history, Bronny is carving out his own unique path. Despite having fewer than 200 career points as of mid-April 2026, Bronny remains a focal point of league interest. Their journey together reached a historic peak when they shared the court for the first time in October 2024 against the Timberwolves. It was a moment many thought might never happen, especially after Bronny's health scare at USC. Seeing them check into the game together was a powerful testament to LeBron's longevity and the family's resilience. LeBron has always preached family over everything, and this partnership on the Lakers roster is the ultimate realization of that philosophy.
The highlights aren't just about the sentiment. They are about the rare flashes of Bronny mirroring his father's athleticism. Whether it's a chase-down block or a high-flying transition play, the resemblance is often uncanny. Critics initially questioned Bronny's credentials when he was drafted 55th overall, but he has embraced the opportunity to learn daily from one of the greatest to ever play the game. Their interactions on the bench and during interviews show a deep bond that transcends the typical teammate dynamic. For Bronny, every minute on the floor is a learning experience, and for LeBron, it's a chance to mentor his son in the most public arena possible. As they continue to play together, every assist and shared defensive rotation adds another chapter to a story that is truly one of a kind in professional sports.
Now let's discuss. The 2026 NBA playoffs are officially set to begin this Saturday, marking the end of a long regular season and the start of the real hunt for the Larry O'Brien Trophy. This year, the bracket is particularly top-heavy, with the Oklahoma City Thunder and San Antonio Spurs emerging as the clear favorites. The Thunder are the defending champions, led by the reigning MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is once again a frontrunner for the award after another dominant scoring season. Meanwhile, the Spurs have surged back into contention behind the incredible play of Victor Wembanyama. It is a fascinating dynamic to have the league's 2 most dominant teams on the same side of the bracket, potentially setting up a massive Western Conference showdown before the finals even begin.
On the Eastern side, the story is all about the Detroit Pistons. Just a few seasons ago, they were the league's basement dwellers, even tying the record for most consecutive losses. Now, they've completed a stunning turnaround to secure the top seed in the East. It's a testament to their rebuilding process and has the entire city of Detroit buzzing for a deep playoff run. We also have to keep an eye on LeBron James and the Lakers. At 41 years old and in his 23rd season, there is constant speculation about whether this could be his final postseason appearance. While he hasn't made a definitive decision about retirement, the stakes feel higher than ever. As the tanking race ends for the bottom teams, the intensity is just beginning for those left standing.
Now to soccer. The rivalry between Arsenal and Manchester City has become the premier fixture in English football. Under Pep Guardiola, City has been an absolute juggernaut, winning 6 Premier League titles in a 7-season span. Arsenal has been their closest challenger recently, finishing as runners-up in 2 of those seasons as they tried to end a 20-year wait for a league title. The dynamic is further complicated by the relationship between the managers. Mikel Arteta served as Guardiola's assistant before taking the reins at Arsenal. This student versus master narrative adds a layer of tactical intrigue to every meeting. City recently got the better of Arsenal in the 2026 Carabao Cup final, but the Gunners are desperate to flip the script in their upcoming Premier League showdown this Sunday.
Looking at the all-time records, Arsenal actually holds the historical advantage with 100 wins over City's 66 across 215 meetings. However, the modern era has been much more balanced. In the Premier League era specifically, Arsenal has 25 wins to City's 19. The matches are often high-scoring affairs, like the legendary 7-3 game back in 1956, or the more recent 5-0 thrashings both sides have traded over the last few decades. Players like Sergio Aguero for City and Doug Lishman for Arsenal share the record for most goals in this fixture, highlighting the star power that has always defined this clash. With both teams currently fighting for the top spot in the table, Sunday's match isn't just about history. It's about who will control the destiny of the current Premier League season.
Next story. College baseball fans in Lincoln witnessed an absolute thriller as Nebraska pulled off an 8-7 walk-off victory against USC in 10 innings. The game ended in total pandemonium when Mac Moyer laid down a perfect bunt that forced a throwing error from USC pitcher Sax Matson. Rhett Stokes, who was already on base, didn't hesitate for a second, sprinting all the way from first to home to score the winning run. It was a classic example of the grit this Nebraska team has shown all season, refusing to quit even when facing one of the nation's premier pitchers. USC's Mason Edwards came into the game with a dominant 1.35 ERA and 95 strikeouts, and he lived up to the hype for 7 innings, but the Cornhuskers stayed patient and waited for their moment.
Nebraska actually managed to rough up Edwards more than any other team this season, tagging him for 8 hits before he exited after 105 pitches. Down 7-2 heading into the late innings, the window for a comeback looked incredibly narrow. However, the Cornhuskers capitalized on USC's freshman reliever Gavin Lauridsen, using timely hitting from Jet Buck and some costly Trojan errors to claw back into the game. The atmosphere in the stadium was electric as the comeback materialized, proving why you can never leave a Nebraska game early. This win adds to a string of dramatic finishes for the Huskers this year, solidifying their reputation as a team that thrives under pressure. For USC, it was a heartbreaking collapse after a dominant start, while Nebraska continues to build momentum heading into the heart of their schedule.
Finally, as we reflect on the Golden State Warriors' elimination, it's impossible not to look back at the incredible decade they've had. 10 years ago, they were making history with a 7-3, 9 regular season record, and Stephen Curry was becoming the first unanimous MVP. Fast forward to today, and the landscape has changed drastically. The 1-1-1-9-4 loss to the Suns in the play-in tournament feels like a definitive turning point. While Curry and Draymond Green are both under contract or have player options for the next season, the physical and emotional toll of their long run is evident. Curry is now 38 and Green is 36, and while they likely have more basketball left in them, the days of being the undisputed favorites every year seem to be fading into the rearview mirror.
The biggest question mark remains Steve Kerr's future. Having led the team to 4 titles and 6 Western Conference championships, his influence on the organization is immeasurable. If Kerr decides not to return for a 13th season, it would truly signal the end of an era in the Bay Area. The trio of Kerr, Curry, and Green has been the bedrock of a dynasty that rivaled the greatest teams in NBA history. Even if they all return for one more run, the rise of younger powers like the Thunder and Spurs suggests the path back to the top will be harder than ever. For now, Warriors fans are left to appreciate the historic success they've witnessed while bracing for an offseason that could redefine the franchise's identity for years to come.
That's all for today's Sports Roundup. Thanks for joining us for these top stories. We will be back tomorrow with more updates. Have a great day.